Here are 4 lessons from a marketing startup founder who got to more than $1 million in annual recurring revenue by going against the typical rules of growing a SaaS company. He ignored the standard advice and hit that 1 million annual recurring revenue number anyway. This video is about Yega and the team who grew Paperflite and how you can apply what they did to the startup you're building. I watched a podcast episode with their chief product officer and pulled out the key takeaways. You'll get 4 concrete lessons, and here's the first one. In 2018, Yega and his 2 co-founders had a working prototype of their product, Paperflite, a sales enablement platform for B2B growth teams. At that point, they had a $400,000 investment, and between the 3 of them, they had no sales experience. They took the prototype to the people who they thought would want it most, heads of marketing and chief marketing officers. The response was positive. The feedback was that none of them have ever seen anything like this, and the experience was really good and they would definitely buy it, but none of them actually did. Not one of those conversations became a paying customer. Those prospects ran marketing at large organizations and they weren't going to commit to a small platform that had only just started. So the takeaway is that a positive reaction doesn't cost the person anything that's giving it. Enthusiasm in a sales meeting is not evidence that your product is good. The only evidence is whether you get paid. 2 years in, Paperflite had a product, a website, and still not a single paying customer. So they put a small team on one job, going onto Quora and Reddit and answering questions. These were real answers and real questions from people who were discussing content problems and distribution problems, with the Paperflite platform mentioned where it was useful. The idea was that somebody describing the exact problem that you solve in a forum is a highly qualified lead. So the team answered the question and then connected with those people on LinkedIn and messaged them directly. And this is the process that produced the first paying customers, and it continued to grow that way. You don't need an audience or a budget to build a pipeline. You need to find where your buyers are already asking questions that you can answer, and then be the one who answers it. That works from the beginning, even with no traffic. In the early days, Paperflite was tiny. It had a handful of customers, no recognizable brand, and a product that was still in its early stages. A message arrived through the chat widget on their website, and the sender said that they were working on a conference and needed their marketing materials distributed and were looking for a product that would do it for them. The company was S&P Global, the company that creates and maintains the S&P 500 index. So the team thought someone was playing a prank on them, but it was real. Paperflite was the platform S&P Global used to distribute their content at that conference. The point here is that the biggest opportunity can come through the smallest channel. That deal came through a chat widget on their site that barely anyone paid attention to. It was barely converting anyone. So the channel that you ignore because it produces next to nothing is the one that could be the one that a Fortune 500 company walking through. So keep answering it properly. Paperflite was moving into enterprise deals. The standard advice at this stage is to make a demo that is repeatable and scalable and to run it at volume. They did close to the opposite. So for every prospect that reached out, the team built the prospect's own Paperflite hub before the call ever even happened. They worked out what business the company was in, what content was already published, how they distributed it, how big the sales team was, and which regions they sold into. Then they set the platform up with the company's real material, so the demo showed the prospect their own content. It was a lot of work and they weren't being paid for it. Each one of these setups took 8 to 10 hours, and they did this for every prospect up until their first 70 enterprise customers. They ran a test to see if all this additional work was worth it. One group of prospects got the hands-off version of the demo, here's the product, go and use it kind of demo, and the other group got a fully built hub. The hands-off group converted at 3%, and the group that got the hub converted at 20%. So the more labor-intensive version of your demo might convert 6 times more prospects than the easy one. They got this data because they tested it rather than assuming, and they still run experiments like this. Today, Paperflite is being squeezed from two directions. So above them, the two biggest players in their category merged, and below them, there's a load of new AI tools. Their position in the middle had its advantages over those above and below. The AI-only tools haven't proven they can handle security and data at a large scale, and big companies can't move quickly. Paperflite sits in the middle. They converted a good number of users from the competitors across to Paperflite, and because of their industry experience plus a product rebuilt around AI, they were more attractive to prospects than the brand new AI tools. If you're facing pressure from bigger competitors and a new wave of AI tools, remember that your position in the middle has an advantage. You've got experience the newcomers can't fake, and you've got the agility and speed bigger players don't. So these are 4 lessons from one founder. Test what people do instead of what they say. Answer questions where your buyers are already asking them. Test and measure the more expensive version of your demo before you dismiss it. And when the market is squeezing you from above and below, treat your position in the middle as one worth holding.